Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Momentum Mondays. Yes, it's another beautiful Monday morning, and I am pumped up and excited today. I have the honor and privilege of welcoming and introducing to the line a phenomenal woman, someone who is known as a professional coach, role model, mentor, leader, national speaker, vice president of human resources in corporate America, and many others. But she says her most important titles are wife and mom. She has helped me and hundreds of women across the country become better and stronger. And she definitely had an amazing book signing this weekend in Fort Wayne. Good morning, the host and visionary of the call, the one and only Jill Jordan Green. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Lynette. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm on fire, I'm pumped up, and I am ready to rock and roll. Let's go.
Awesome. And folks, I want to say good morning, and good morning. Welcome to Momentum Mondays. My name is Jill Green, and I'm 4 and 16 with a call that's designed to wake you up, shake you up, and take you up to new levels in your life, your career, your business, and your dreams. Earlier, you were listening to the sounds of Ocean by Hillsong. And I have some amazing co-hosts today that are going to take you to the next level. And I want to mention we have Bishop Dickie Robbins, who will be out today, who is a visionary of Emerging Leadership Conferences all the way out of Chester, Pennsylvania. We salute him in his absence. And we have Miss Michelle Washington from North Delaware. Good morning, Michelle.
Woo! That's right, Jill. I'm excited. I'm always intentional, and I'm executing my plan, my purpose, my dreams, my desire every single day. Let's go.
Let's go. And we also have Miss Danita Washington, all the way from my hometown, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and she is the founder and director of Girls Rock. Congrats to her for an amazing Girls Rock conference this weekend. Over 200 young girls' lives that will be changed forever. Give it up for Miss Danita Washington. Good morning, Danita.
Good morning, Momentum Monday movers and shakers. Remember this week, you guys, to lead with love. Welcome to the call.
Absolutely. And not last, but we have Miss Lynette Rogers. She's the owner of Virtually Yours, founder of Saving Our Youth, author of #1 best-selling book, Mission Unstoppable, that she wrote with Les Brown and George Fraser, speaker and presenter at the conference this weekend, all the way from Detroit, Michigan. She emceed
To all the Momentum Monday champions on the line, I'm going to need some help landing this plane. I'm pumped up. We're killing procrastination because the future is now. Let's go.
Yes. And last but not least, we have the amazing Dawn Roseman, partner in a major law firm, a writer, keynote speaker, and creator of Rain Tables, Rain Talks, Rain Soon, and a presenter also at the conference this weekend. Man, this weekend was so busy. I want you to give it up all the way from my hometown, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Miss Dawn Roseman. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I am so excited. It's raining everywhere because y'all are on the call. We reign. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to get at it today. We're going to talk about something very near and near and dear is not even the right word. It's been a cry for me. And so I'm excited to vibe with my co-hosts about it and hope that and pray that something that we say blesses y'all and moves the ball. So we're going to talk. The topic, the conversation today is about this thing called rest. Rest to win is what I call it. And so, you know, I started thinking about this and how this kind of came to being for me. Life today, for all of us, I think, consists of constant busyness. I mean, you know, my co-host, I think, would agree with me. We live in a world where what I call the art of being fully present never, or what we call multitasking, is paramount. It's required. We have smartphones that keep us tethered to everything. We really never leave work, never leave anything, never leave anybody, because our phones can keep us everywhere. We check in on Facebook and all these different things. And I'm not saying any of these things are bad. I'm just simply saying this is the world we live in. I'm reading this book called 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management by Kevin Kruse. He has a whole chapter dedicated to this thing called there's always more. So you have to know when to just say stop, right? And so it's all this stuff we're talking about. And so about a year or so ago, Jill, it became my prayer. It became my cry out to God, like, hey, God, teach me how to rest, man. Yes, I was talking about it physically because I think I was overrun, and still struggle with that at times. But I think, I know for a fact that what I was really asking is, God, teach me how to quiet all this stuff in my mind. I seemed to never be able to settle. I was always in tomorrow, sitting in today, if that makes sense. And so I want you to talk to me, Jill, because you created these calls, this Momentum Monday call. You created it to get people to move, right? To get people to have momentum, to take steps, to move forward toward their dreams. And here we are now talking about rest. Talking about rest. And there could be somebody out there to be like, hey, that's what I'm talking about right there, because I'm tired I'm tired this morning.
That's right.
So it's time for me, so that's what I was waiting on this. That's not quite it. And so I want you to talk to me about this idea of rest and why it's so critical. What does it mean? What are we talking about this morning?
Well, Dawn, it's amazing that we're talking about rest. I just rattled off all the things that we did this weekend, right? So physically, I know that we all feel fatigued or exhausted. And next weekend, we have big weekends coming up. So what is rest? The technical definition, it means to cease work or movement in order to relax. It means to refresh, recover your strength. But, Dawn, for me, rest is order. I define it as order. Because when things are in order, meaning my relationship with God, my relationship with my husband, right, the things with my children, my household, then I can have rest. But rest is just not physical, Dawn. Rest is mental, emotional, and spiritual. Because my body has actually been rested, and I still didn't.
I looked it up, too, and I got these definitions. Certainly, these struck out to me. It says refreshing quiet. Certainly, it means sleep. Mental or spiritual calm, tranquility, and this is my favorite, relief or freedom, especially from anything that wearies, troubles, or disturbs us. That spoke to me. That's what we're talking about. Lynette, rest, man, rest. What does it mean to you? What does it say to you when we're talking about this? Why does this matter that we're talking about this morning?
Well, this subject is very important because, I struggle with trying to find balance. So when you brought up this subject, I said, this is about balance. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, and the challenge is to try to carve some of that 24 hours out for the proper physical rest, because you're no good to anybody else unless you're good to yourself. And so we want to make sure we have balance where it comes to physical rest. But then I hear, you and Jill, when you say, you want that mental and spiritual, just that resting. And I was reading in the Bible, actually, where it says the mind is a battleground. And, just like when Jill say, you could be asleep for 8 hours and wake up still tired. Well, that just speaks to the fact to me that your mind is restless. It's in turmoil or just uneasy. So a lot of times our body will get to sleep, but our mind won't be rested. And it's just the things that we just have going through our heads all the time. And I just realized how the enemy wants our mind. The enemy wants to take over our mind, and the battle is in the mind. So when I think about resting, we want peace of mind. Yeah. And this is what, I'm excited to talk about this morning on the call. So it's just a matter of getting that balance. It's a matter of getting that balance.
So if you just joined us, this is Momentum Monday. So please go to our Facebook group page and let us know you're on the call. Post in the call, talk to us. Let us know that this is resonating, what you want to hear, that sort of thing. We'd love to hear from you. But we're talking about this concept, of rest, resting to win. I'm coming back to you, Danita and Shelly, hang tight, but I'm coming back to you for a second, Jill. Balance, order. I call this. I said that we're talking about resting to win. Why does this matter? Why does this matter? How does this connect to winning?
Well, let's look at the physical term right now, win, right? We think of win, winning a race, so that's a physical motion. And physical rest, although that's not the only kind of rest, is important, right? It is a form of restoration and rejuvenation. I looked it up last night, Dawn, and found out that 10 trillion cells fly a billion protein interactions every second, giving your body information it needs to become new. But because most of these changes during the rest are not conscious, not visible, we can't feel it, our brain is saying nothing is happening. So we reject the physical rest that we need because we don't think anything is happening. And we can't stand not to do anything. And then we don't fulfill the destiny that we've been called to because we're exhausted, depleted, but we haven't restored ourselves because we don't think anything is happening, Dawn. Is that powerful?
Yeah, that is awesome. And it tees up this other point. You said we can't stand to not do anything, not to be in motion, if you will. Shelley, so our Father talks a lot about this subject. This doesn't originate in my mind. He gave it to me. He said, this is what I want you guys to talk about. This is the scripture, Matthew 11:28. You've heard it in this way where it says, like, hey, come to me, all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. In the Message Bible version, it says, are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. God's about rest, Shelley. Talk to me about that.
And Dr. Dawn, that scripture alone is enough. We could get off the call on that if we follow that pattern. And Dr. Dawn, honestly, I've been in church all my life, and I have a relationship with God, but I'm constantly challenging my relationship and my trust and relying on Him. And I realize in certain situations I'm really not trusting in God. I'm trusting in relying on my own strength. So the scripture you said is the key to being rested, not worried, not stressed out, not frustrated. There's another scripture, too, in Proverbs. It says, trust and rely confidently on the Lord with all of your heart, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. I think sometimes that the reason why we're not rested is because we're trying to do so much on our own strength. And once we run out of our strength, now we're frustrated, worried, not rested. We put ourselves in a bad situation. For me, Dawn, and what I'm aiming to do every day is really to rely on God. The Bible also says to seek Him first. And anything that I desire, He said, it'll be added unto you. But my weakness or challenge and opportunities from time to time, not all the time, but from time to time, I know it stems from me trying to do so much and not relying on God first.
It seems, I'm going to try to get in the mind of maybe some of our listeners. That's y'all gonna jump on me again. That seems easier said than done. Danita, there's a lot going on. Is God asking us, or I should say it this way, is the ability to rest, does it only come when does everything have to be chill for us to get to that place? How does that work? Talk to me about that.
Absolutely not. I think it means to be in, even when you're in a place of noise, trouble, hard work, in the midst of all of those things, and you can still be calm in your heart. I think part of the issue is that a lot of times we have so much noise going on around us that our upward relationship gets distracted, and that's when the uneasiness comes. And so what I'm learning, this week, I had an aunt that was very ill and still is ill. This week coming up on a conference with over 200 people coming. I had a couple people cancel last minute. Job is very high demand right now. other family members with distresses. But the reality was my heart was calm. So I was able to still carry out my divine mission. So a lot of times I think rest doesn't mean to go sit down or I can't do it. No, anything he brings us to, I believe he gets us through and he equips us. But you have to be rested in your heart and in your mind and in your spirit a lot of times when we're encountering. And, rest and self-care are important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from your overflow. And, you cannot serve from an empty vessel. That was a quote from Eleanor Roman. You cannot serve from an empty vessel, and I believe that. And so it's not so much that you're depleted and tired. It's, a lot of it, too, is from your internal spirit. Can you calm your heart and your mind in order to still carry out the task when the noise has gotten loud around you, Dawn? That's the question.
That's good because one of the things I said when I put up the Facebook post announcing, hey everybody get on this call. When I put it up there last night, one of the things, and I'm still walking this out. I mean, I think I will constantly be walking this out, but there was a point in my life where I talked a lot about trusting God, right? I said it a lot. If you would have asked me, I could have given you all kinds of scriptures about trusting God. But when things got heavy, there's a statement. It's not mine, but I love it. Where it's like you never really know what's inside of an orange till you squeeze it. When I started getting squeezed, and that's when it became evident that I didn't really trust God at all. I trusted me. I trusted this job. I trusted maybe other people. But I didn't really trust God at all because if I trust God right, it seems, and I'm coming back to you for a minute, Shelly, just to expound on this a bit. If it seems if I trust God the way I'm supposed to, then that thing Danita's talking about, stuff could be swirling like crazy around you. But, we stand then immovable. Fair? Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, Dr. Dawn. And the other things that we apply when things are out of sync, I know for me, and I know this is true for Danita, is that you put on songs that get you into a place, into his presence, because he says in his presence there's fullness of joy. So when we're out of sync, and again, like you said, it's not an easy thing, but it's something that we have to consistently apply to ourselves, apply to our daily life. Dr. Dawn, it's just like a relationship. If you and I are in a relationship and we're girls, I got your back. You can rely on me because you have trusted in me to do a particular thing, where certain things you don't even have to worry about. It's the same thing with God.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for us to establish that relationship with God in the hard times and even in the good times. We're supposed to allow him to be God. Dr. Dawn, do you know that God rested on the seventh day? Not that he didn't do anything. He was just completed with that particular phase or project with creating the world, of course. But he rested. Why did God say that and put that word in there? Why was it so important for him to rest from the labor of a particular thing? So if God and even Jesus did it while he was on earth, why don't we do it?
That's a good question. And I want to explore it because I want to understand, and I think it's critical that we're going to get to. So let me back up. We're on Momentum Monday call. Y'all already know how we do. So please go to our Facebook page. Let us know you're on the call. Comment, chime in, and vibe with us. We're talking this morning about resting and how it connects to our winning in going after your purpose. And so you just asked a really critical question, Shelly. You're just like, hey, so why don't we do it? Hey, Jill, so there are a lot of things that are keeping us from entering into this, because if we've got the platform, right, we know we're supposed to do it. It helps us physically as well as mentally, spiritually, in every regard. Why don't we do it? Talk to me about, give me an example for you of just some things or something that has robbed you or threatens to rob us of the rest that we are asked to enter into.
You know what, Dawn, I really been asking myself this question, what's keeping me from true rest? because I am searching for true rest. I don't always have it. I'm being very transparent. As people know, I'm very ambitious. I'm very goal-driven. I haven't set a goal that I haven't, almost killed myself trying to reach. And so what is it that keeps me from rest? And for me, it's fear of failure. Dawn, I have a few significant things that happened to me when I was growing up that made me deathly afraid of failing. I had a major failure with math in grade school. Dawn, I failed my first driver's exam, right? I mean, what? I had to be in high school at that point, and then I failed my first college exit exam. When I was in school, there was an exit exam you had to take to get out of college. I failed it the first time. Then, so listen, at grade school, right? High school, college, and then post-college, I got demoted in a great job that I had. So I had these major failure experiences that left an imprint on my soul. It did something to me. So now I am deathly afraid of failing. Dawn, that thing drives me, which some people think is good, but it wakes me up at night. It keeps me from sleeping, and I think it robs me sometimes from true rest. I'm just being transparent, and I know that's something I have to deal with, but for me, that's what keeps me from true rest.
I appreciate that, and I know that that's not easy to say, and I don't think you're alone at all. As a matter of fact, I know you're not, because if nobody else stand up and tell you, I know that for me, it may take on a different word, but it comes from the same place, this fear of not achieving, especially when you think that people expect that of you, right? And so you kind of lean into that, and that begins to shape you, and you go after that thing trying to achieve. At least that's what it was for me. And so when I didn't, I'd set these crazy standards, and when I couldn't achieve them, I'd get all in turmoil. And so it created this sense of never being able to settle in my mind. And so I appreciate you, Jill, for saying that. Danita, example for the callers of something that keeps us from the rest we're asked to go into, something that you've experienced maybe.
I think for me, I had to really look at and assess toxic relationships. I have a tendency, or, in my past, that was something that really robbed me of rest. And not so much, it became more of a battle of the mind. Because for me, I'm a pleaser. I like camaraderie. And I like to kind of grow people and, love on people. And so sometimes I had to really look and assess how sometimes when you have your own needs, it can kind of show up in those things. And so for me, I wasn't resting because I was so busy trying to please or accommodate some toxic relationships. And so I've learned to give balance. Doesn't mean you have to cut people off, but you do have to stand firm on what your job is in people's life. And sometimes I think we take a position that is not God-given, and so you're out of order, and you have an expectation for sometimes for people in your life, and it's out of position and it's out of order. And so I've learned to really be mindful of toxic relationships and how they rob me of my rest. And so when I start noticing it, there's a gut feeling, Dawn, that comes. And I think internally we have to learn to listen to our internal spirit when it's saying, you weary. I tell my students all the time, if somebody show up at the bus stop and your stomach start quivering or in your circle because you're not quite sure what they're going to do, what they're going to take from you, not take from you physically, but mentally, you need to assess that relationship, And so I'm very mindful and careful about toxic relationships.
And I'm going to push in a little bit further on that, Danita, because I like the word. It's a strong word. And I want to make sure that the callers understand. Toxic may not, it's easy, I guess, if someone is really being harmful to you. But is it true, I want to make sure I understand and that the callers understand, is it true that a toxic relationship could be one where it's someone that just simply is constantly taking away your time, taking away your ability?
I think those are the ones that we kind of miss. Those are the ones that, because It's not a major boom, they don't disrespect you. They don't, you know what I'm saying? But it's those silent killers. You on the phone 2 and 3 hours when really you could be resting, or you could be moving your destiny, your dreams forward, but you spending all this time having negative conversation, spending time looking at posts on Facebook that don't have anything to do with where you're going, and it's nothing but feeding that negative energy and drive. And so, yeah, Dawn, I think that the stage and the age and the era that we're in, that is exactly what I'm saying.
That's good. That's good. Thank you, because I want to make sure. I thought that's what you're saying. I want to make sure that was clear. That book I mentioned earlier, 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management by Kevin Kruse. He also talks about something else I spoke about in my RAIN class this weekend at the Girls Rock Conference. I talked about this concept of 1440, and he offers up that, hey, we got 1,440 minutes in a day, and when you think about it in the concept of minutes, it makes you think about them and respect them differently. And the idea that when somebody comes in and they walk in your office or they call you on the phone, you look at them now in terms of like, you about to take 20 of my 1440. Or you just stole, 30 of my 1440. There's some people like, I know you are clear 200 of my 1440. And you got to make a decision of whether or not you're willing to give that to them. And so I appreciate you saying that. Lynette, what's another example of something that robs us of our the rest that we all so desire and that we're called to enter into?
When I think more and more about the subject, I know for me, it's really like a false sense of urgency that just surrounds me all the time. Like I said, we have 24 hours in a day, and the world is like just always on. It just never stops, right? So things are just, there's always something to do, something that could be done. But I have always struggled with trying to sort out what's important. So,
that's good. That's good.
This false sense of urgency. And then, me being a single mother, it's like I feel like I have to do everything. It's like, and I'm just so used to doing everything. I'm trying to cram everything within the 24 hours and not understanding that, I was just, I was being funny earlier, like, oh, I got to land this plane, and I realized that I have a hard time landing the plane or asking for help and receiving help and understanding I don't have to do it all. And that robs me of my rest just mentally and physically. And, when it gets to the point where your body starts to shut down, where you completely can't get out of bed, or, you have a pounding headache, or just something physically is not allowing you to function, I realized, like, one time where I was totally tapped out one day, and life still went on. Things still got done. I'm like, okay, why was I putting all this pressure on me? So, this false sense of urgency and just understanding that, either we have to either carve it out ourselves or our body will definitely shut us down.
False sense of urgency, false sense of importance probably too. Don't you think, Lynette?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And knowing how to sort out the urgent and important from what's really not, things that can wait. Just shifting things to another day, another time, and really understanding how to prioritize.
Well, I mean it one step different. I mean it in terms of our own sense. Let me say it for myself, because let me put myself on Front Street. I think sometimes for me, I thought or determined that I was more important to this particular situation or in this particular event than I really was. That somehow everything was going to fall apart, like what you said, if I wasn't in the mix. And the reality of it is that wasn't true. So I suggest that maybe sometimes it's a false sense of our own importance. It's not that we aren't valuable and important, but that we make ourselves kind of relevant to everything when sometimes we don't have to be there. Fair?
That's right. Very true.
Hey, Shelly, what do you think? What are some things? What's a thing for you? Just an example of something that threatens to rob us of the rest that we're asked to enter into.
In my personal life, it's always trying to do everything for everybody, like the ladies just said, and that is so key. Actually, sometimes we present that to our children. They see us trying to do everything all the time, and then they grow up trying to do everything all the time, and then it's a vicious cycle. My daughter, she runs track. Sometimes she runs track out of state and things like that, and I'm honest with her. I said, Dominique, I can't make this one, but when you come home, I'll have this, that, and the other for you, because I'm being honest. I'm letting her know, even though, and please hear me, I'm very supportive of my daughter, but my reality is that I cannot make every meet that she have. But the thing that keeps us together and give her that understanding is my communication with her. I love you. I'm there to support you. I make sure she's prepped for it. When she comes home, she has something for her to recover. But being all in, texting her. But sometimes, like Lynette said, sometimes as a single mother, and I'm going to even say with mothers at general, we try to be every single thing to everybody. And then at the end of the day, we're so depleted. We have nothing for ourselves. And that's why we don't, for myself, that's one of the reasons why I'm not rested. And I guarantee you, the ladies that's on the call, it is okay not to be everything to everybody. That's God's job.
That's
what
good.
we have to do is communicate to our husband, communicate to our children. And this is the funny thing, my kids don't do it now, but when they were younger, and I know every mother on the phone would acknowledge this, they'll knock on the door wanting you to do something, and meanwhile the husband, the boyfriend, the bigger brother, sister is out. The people around us to rely on us before they rely on God first, and then themselves.
You're showing out.
Come on, man. I can't be everything
showing out.
Dawn. Okay, Michelle's on fire. She's like showing out this morning. I mean, that was so amazing what you said. So Danita just posted something in the Facebook group that I think represents a lot of what we feel sometimes. And she said, sometimes I'm almost fearful to say that I need rest. Because as women, as super women, right, as women who are getting things done, we're so used to being everything to everybody, like Michelle just said, that we are afraid to admit we need rest. Because we think it's a sign of weakness. So we don't physically rest, we don't spiritually rest, we don't mentally rest, we don't emotionally rest. We just keep going and going and going and going. And that's why we have women getting depression at all times rates. That's why we have people committing suicide and taking themselves out, because we are not resting, Dawn.
Yeah. Danita, I know you wanted to comment on that real quick. Go ahead, real quick.
One of the things, just even listening, I'd have to even take it a step further, that even beyond just women, I think because people are driven. We're at a stage in life where everybody wants to climb the ladder. Everybody wants to be better and gain more money and get, financial gain, and all of that's good and it's great. But what I'm finding, even, my boss, I mean, some of us, we've been sick. I've been sick for 3 weeks. I'm on this call now with a cough that I've had for months. And sipping water and pause and mute my call because I don't want y'all to hear how bad my cough is. But, I say all that to say that, some of us neglect taking care of ourselves. And, again, I'm going to say what I said earlier, because we place ourselves in a position that is not godly given to us. We were not designed and made. He didn't say fix all. He did not tell us. Some of this stuff we put on ourselves and said, this is the Superwoman tag, this is the Superman tag. He's sitting back saying, y'all, I ain't asked you to do that. I ain't told you to take that on. But, mentally, because we put ourselves in a position where we believe that we have to be the catch-all. That's why we're out of order, and that's why we feel the way we feel, uneasy and unrested. And, Michelle, I think you gave a great point, that a lot of times as parents, we need to let our kids know, because part of what we need to understand, we're teaching them by what we do. And so they model unrest. And then that's what they begin to repeat, and it becomes a sick, repetitive cycle. Yeah. One of my friends now is taking her child. I just started yoga, and they have yoga classes for kids. And I thought, how many of us teach our kids how to rest, how to learn to sit still, cut the computers off, cut every little distraction off, and rest your mind?
Yeah. That's good. That's good, Danita. That is so good. We are I think we are officially transitioning over. But Jill, do you want to bring us home real quick?
This has been amazing. I know we're going to quickly open up the lines for our after call for just a few minutes. But Dawn, thank you so much for walking us through this conversation that will continue next week. But I wanted to remind everybody that the Makeover Conference is back. Part 3 is happening on April 23rd. People are asking, is it sold out? Almost, so make sure you get your tickets. You can get your tickets at the FortWayneMakeoverConference.com. That's the FT for the FortWayneMakeoverConference.com. Tonight, we'll do a Facebook Live post, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Registration is only $40. You get registration bags, a lunch, a journal. There's going to be a fashion show, a panel discussion, and just so much more. It's going to be awesome. Danita and I are so excited about hosting another Footwear Makeover Conference. It's happening at Parkview, and they're our key sponsor this year. So super excited. So we're going to be tackling some tough issues, and guess what? It's about mental health, which leads to some of this we're talking about now, which is lack of rest, increased stress, and things like that. So anyway, Lynette, if you can open up the lines, and Dawn can lead us for the next few minutes for our after call. I love this. Yeah,
no, and I appreciate it. Go ahead, Lynette. You got anything you want? We are officially in our after call. I appreciate so much everybody hanging in there with us, joining us this morning. This is our Momentum Monday call. We've been talking about, vibing about this idea, this concept, this directive from our God to rest. So please go to our Facebook page, post in your comments, your thoughts. Let's help each other. Danita just gave a powerful statement off the heels of something that Shelley just said about the need to model for our children resting. And it's funny, Danita, that you say that because, and I don't know if my mom, often joins, and I appreciate it. I'm not sure if she's still on, but she knows this too. One of the things that I learned from her, and it's funny, it's good. Things can be good and bad. I learned how to survive. I learned how to work, how to be at a strong work ethic, all those sorts of things. But I also learned kind of constant activity. And so this idea of rest, or rather the thing that led me to needing to delve into needing to rest was something that came from learned behavior. So really, really critical that we talk to our kids about it. Hey, callers, if you want to say something, this is about you, this after call. So please hit *6 and unmute yourself and just let us know that you want to say something, and the floor will be yours. You talk about being a single mom. My mother was a single mom, doing a lot of things, not being able to ask for help. We're certainly going to get into that in the next call in terms of things we can do. But how critical is that really to getting to the place of true rest?
Well, just when you really think about it, it's just robbing so much of your time, your energy, and just your mind by not getting that proper rest. And I know for me, it just makes me so imbalanced, and it wears me down. So I thought about, just this weekend alone, and again, that false sense of urgency where I'm thinking, you have to do everything. Oh my goodness, just take a seat, calm down. You brought it out even perfectly when you said, a lot of the times it's, a false sense of importance, right? Throughout the week and just in my day-to-day, there are things that could be delegated to other people, even my children. It's handicapping them, not, allowing them to do certain things that they can do. So I know for me, I really just struggle for balance. And then that thing that I talked about earlier too, about, that the mind just being the battlefield. It's so many things that I used to worry about, right? Things that I thought that were going to happen, that, just thinking, oh, this is going to happen, and that consumes my mind. And then later on, half the stuff I was worrying about didn't even happen. Right? So it's like, and it's robbing me of my peace, robbing me of my joy, just robbing me of just so much. You know, we'll cause ourselves to have a nervous breakdown if we don't just sit still and just allow God to do the work. So you know, it sounds simple. Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's just something that we have to constantly work at. And
you know, I learned that you could actually have a good night's sleep with dishes in the sink. I didn't know that was possible. you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You kind of learn that, you get trained that. Hey, we've got some callers who want to chime in and say something. We got somebody from a 302 area code and 913. So let's go with 302 first. The floor is yours. You know, have at it.
Hi. Excuse me. Hi, my name is Tanya Williamson, and I want to give a shout-out to Michelle Washington for sending out the momentum call this morning. I'm so excited because last week my pastor ministered to me, and she specifically said, Tanya, it's time for you to rest to execute. And so God sends you the resources that you need, because as I was coming into the office, I just happened to, the momentum call from Michelle Washington just popped up on my phone, and it said rest to win. And so I joined the call, and each area I could relate to. And it's so funny because of the simple fact that I saw the part where I've been newly married, I guess, in the last 3 years, and my children have transitioned into college. My challenge is trying to rest, because I feel like he's like the kids. You make them self-sufficient over time, but now you have a man, and he's not as self-sufficient as I thought he was with the launch of the businesses and everything else that I kind of had on my plate. And so now I'm going to go home this evening because he actually called me while I was on this call, and I was like, I got to start prioritizing him and keeping the lines of communication open, because it's causing me not to get the rest that I deserve in order to accomplish the results that we all need to accomplish collectively together. And so I just wanted to tell you, thank you very much. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. And I really look forward to participating in these calls on a go-forward basis.
That is so good, Tanya. Thank you so much for sharing that and demonstrating courage and saying, hey, I'm going to go and start making some changes about how I'm going to do this, because I'm going to put me on the list. That's awesome. So I'm so glad you joined this morning. We've got another caller from a 913 area code. Go ahead. You are up.
Good morning, ladies. This is Martika Cross, and I definitely had to chime in on this one. I was just, and when I say just, I mean just, speaking the same very thing to my daughter the other day, because, you know, as a young adult, you know, they want to hang out all night and not really get the proper rest that's needed. And what I realized for myself is that we live in a society and a time where it seems that the word busy and the look of being busy means important. And even myself, I found myself putting so much on my own plate that I had to realize it wasn't healthy for me, you know, and very quickly I learned the power of no. Seriously, I learned the power of no to others and no to myself, because sometimes you feel like you want to do this, you want to do that, well, just because you can don't mean you should. And that's what I had to tell myself, because I wasn't getting the proper rest. And the thing is that when you're not rested, you can't give your best. And when you can't give your best, what's the point in doing it? So this is the very thing that I was just preaching to her on the other day. It's more to you, because if you can't take care of you, then you are no good to life. You're no good to God, because you're not able to do much for him, and you're just not any good, period. So Thank you all for this subject.
So, Martika, you're showing out too. I see what's happening. You're being wonderful and showing out. We're going to have to figure out how to put you back on next week. Yes. Thank you for that. Those are wonderful. That's right. Busyness does not mean that you're moving the ball forward at all. So thank you for sharing that. No is a complete sentence. So I appreciate you. We actually have one more. We're going to transition. We're in our after call. It seems that these calls we keep having, we can't get off, but that's good. I'm so excited. That means that God is moving, and I'm excited about that all day. 313, where are you at? I hear you're out there. You have something to say.
Yes, this is Giovanna calling from Detroit, Michigan. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I had to chime in this morning. This call was so for me. I am a single mother of 2 boys, teenage, toddler, and I have a 21-year-old nephew that I took in about 2 years ago. And Lord have mercy is all I can say. But today, this was so for me. Yesterday, my 21-year-old nephew has epilepsy. I wasn't fully aware of that condition and was waking up yesterday morning to him having a seizure and passing out on my basement floor. And me trying to get to him, I tripped and fell down the stairs trying to get to him. So we both ended up going to the hospital yesterday morning, and it really gave me a reality check to what you guys are saying for rest and just being still, because I'm pulled in so many different directions, even outside of my home. And I also have a rare health condition on my own that where, like you guys said, I'm so depleted from doing from others and being pulled in every different area that I'm not getting the rest to where it's causing mental tiredness, physical, and everything else. So this call definitely was right on time for me. So I want you guys to know, if no one else tells you, you guys have encouraged me. You guys have given me a word that I needed to hear this day, and I am so grateful and thankful.
That blesses me. I know the rest of my co-hosts feel the same. You are, I think, speaking what everybody is thinking. And so thank you, Giovanna. Thank you for your transparency and for having the courage to bless everybody with your thoughts. I appreciate it. We are again, I've been saying this for the last few weeks, kicking and screaming, going to get off this. Danita, I know you had something real quick you wanted to say. Go ahead and chime in before we transition off this after call.
No, I think the young lady that just spoke just kind of hit it on the nail that we're out of position. So we're good, Dawn. I think she said everything. And I thought Tony Irby had a really good point on her post of her 3 Ps. So please go to the Facebook page and read those because, everybody said everything I wanted to say, Dawn.
Okay. Well, we are done for today. We're never done. I'll be sitting right here waiting on y'all next week. So we can talk about this again. But we're going to talk about it. And please come back because we're never going to leave you here. We're not problem spotters. We're problem solvers. And and God has given us the prescription. So we're going to talk about some very practical things that we can do to move into our place. Like you said, Danita, Tony Irby just gave us 3. And so I appreciate you, Tony. And we're gonna unpack some things that have worked in our life to get to a place of true rest and sustained rest, that we stay there in his presence. I will leave you with this. There was a statement by, I think it was Marianne Williamson, and she said that she would constantly get down on her knees and she would pray and she would get the answer, and then she would stand up and do all the things that she shouldn't be doing, and then she'd get all broken again and get back on her knees and pray and get the answer, and she'd keep repeating this cycle. And then she said one day the Holy Spirit was like, why don't you just stay in the face of the answer? Stay down on your knees. And so that's what we're trying to get to. We're going to get to that place of sustained rest so we can get about the place of winning in every aspect of our life. So this has been wonderful. Love y'all. My co-hosts love y'all. We love y'all. So thank you, and we'll see you next week. What is it, Jill? Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right.
Hey, Dawn.
Yeah.
I want to open up the lines and have all the callers. We just want to affirm today we are resting to win. We are resting to win.
I'm resting to win.
I'm resting to win.
I'm resting to win. I'm resting to win. You guys blessed me this morning. That's all I can say. Woo! As Michelle Washington would say.
Love it.
Awesome.